All right, so I'm going to log in. I'm on our dashboard, and what I wanted to go through today is one of our most popular calculators. It's our income rider calculator. And you can see I'm on my dashboard. Here's all the different options. If I click on calculator, I'm going to click on income rider calculator. And basically what this is, it's pretty self-explanatory. This is going to take different annuity products, and you're going to be able to see what the income is generated off of them. And so by default, when you click on it, what it's going to do is it's going to take your most recent client that I'm working on. So I can see current client, Patricia Green. She's in Illinois and has $350,000. At any point, I can come in and I can edit the client if needed or change her options. So let's say she's actually going to be, she's not in Illinois, she's in, let's say, Maine. And so that'll revamp and change the products accordingly that are available in that market. And quick overview of this, basically, it's fairly straightforward. You can see on the left hand, I have my income rider calculations. I have annuity filters, so I can basically choose like individual carrier names if I want to do that. I can set up like a minimum on the rating. So let's say that I want in this scenario, I want everything A- and above from a rating standpoint. If I want any like premium bonuses, income bonuses options, I can do that as well. Surrender time, that type of thing, I can narrow it down. But we'll just say I'm pretty open to options. I just need A- and above from a rating standpoint. And then from here, I'll just say it's going to be qualified. So we'll just say it's in a traditional 401k. And then I have different rider features. I'm just going to say no income reduction in this case. It's just going to be flat income. It's going to be flat income. And then we're going to solve for income, monthly withdrawal numbers, and a payout is going to be, we'll imagine in this scenario that Patricia is single and we don't need to solve for a joint payout with her spouse. All right, so we have that. That's the default setting. The only thing I really changed in this is just the minimum rating. And then in this scenario, we're going to say, okay, right now it looks like she's 62. Let's say that initial plans are to retire in 5 years. So she has 5 years of deferral time. And so you can see I just slide that across this little bar, and now it's going to give us 67 is when she starts taking income. And if I scroll down, you can see here's all the annuity products that popped up that are available for her. Now, how this is going to be sorted is by the highest amount of guaranteed income, and then it's going to descend from there. And so you can see in this scenario, it looks like the F&G product is giving us the initial, the most guaranteed income, and then it goes down from there. I can click on this and I can compare and download a comparison report as needed. And if I wanted to do that, and you can see like over here, it has little three dots. If I scroll over the top of it, it's an action menu. And so if I click on illustrate, it'll actually pull up the illustration for this product that I can go through. And then I can also download that as well. I can click on annuity details, e-app. I can see illustration notes. And so that just popped up in a different tab. And then you can see everything else. I can save this. It has the general annuity information associated with this as well. And so I can quickly navigate to most of the kind of general information I would need as I'm doing that. I can look at payout rates. I can go to the annuity brochure, easily to navigate all of that. If I needed to change something, like I've seen a lot of agents where they'll basically will pop this open with the client and have it be an exercise that they do and be like, all right, initial planning was 5 years. Wonder if we have you work, wonder if you just out of curiosity, work one more year. Looks like we can get $3,200 a month. If we defer that out one more year, it's going to bump that up $300. So another $3,600 annually. And so you can mess around with this and show different scenarios, which is nice. And then some agents will even basically have them like set up their filters. So it's like, what do you think would be the best scenario on this? And you can be like, oh, is it this initial product with F&G? Is it this nationwide? And it opens up kind of a conversation so that the client is involved. And again, up to you on how that works on your sales process, but you can see and how you could go through that with them right there. Anything I can hover over, it'll give me a kind of an explanation of that. So I just hovered over what this was as far as how it's targeting the income, or calculating the income. And nothing crazy about this. I can go to list view as well and set a table as needed. It kind of just has more information and kind of details with that as well. So set it up around what you like to see. Now, what I really like about this, and what I think is awesome, is In this case, we're just solving for, we have a set premium amount. So in this case, it was $350,000 in an IRA, and we're just trying to find the income, and pretty straightforward. I can go into annual, see the annual amount as well. Nothing groundbreaking or crazy about that. What I really like this tool for is you can solve for premium. And so what that means is, let's say that we're having a more kind of comprehensive conversation with a client and we're building out their retirement income needs. And based off of our conversation, I know that they have, let's say they're getting $3,000 a month from Social Security. They're getting another, let's call it $2,500 a month from a dividend mutual fund that they have. And they need to find another $3,000 a month in income, guaranteed income, I should say, because they're roughly, let's say that their income needs are $8,500 a year. Excuse me, $8,500 a month is what their income needs are. So they're getting $3,000 from Social Security, $2,500 from their fixed income mutual fund, and then they need to find another $3,000 from another type of investment. And we're having that conversation around annuities. So what's cool about this is I can say, okay, we're solving for premium now. And same time, we have a deferral time is 5 years. And the desired income is $3,000. I'm going to put that in. I'm going to make sure that we have monthly selected. And then the numbers will update. You can see below. And this is going to show what products will get us that guaranteed income of $3,000 a month, and then how much would I need to put in that product to get that amount. So it's going to start with the least amount of premium needed to get that guaranteed amount, and then it's going to basically go in ascending order from there. And so you can see, okay, back at the top, we got F&G. We put in $320,000 and change. That gets us $3,000. We have the Jackson Life. We got this American Equity Nationwide. And you can go through that and see as well. And then there's going to be other features or riders or benefits associated with those too that I can go through as well. The reason that I like this, and this is a little bit unique, is now if I'm going through this with my client and we're having this conversation, I'm not just in their mind, and how I'm pitching it is I'm not just pitching a product being like, hey, you should do an annuity because it's XYZ or whatever. We're now solving a problem on getting them guaranteed income. And we're basically providing a solution, and we're not just selling a product to sell a product. We're actually finding them a viable scenario that gives them kind of peace of mind when it comes to guaranteed income. And it basically solves the problem that they're trying to do. And so this is nice because it allows us to have more of a comprehensive conversation based off of their retirement income needs. And now we can basically put that income picture puzzle together with them and fit in an annuity to do that. And now when we're going through this, if I'm in the client shoes and I'm basically talking to them, be like, all right, we know what you need. Let's look at that, what we're trying to do. When I talk about, let's say that we like this Jackson Life for some reason. Now, when we talk about $327,000, they're not just looking at, the product necessarily. They're looking at, all right, when we do this, is basically going to give me peace of mind and give me that $3,000 a month in income that I'm looking for in retirement. And so I like this because it puts you in the chair of being a problem solver, or basically talking more about the solution as opposed to just looking at the product and kind of what you can get from an individual product. Now you're basically just the expert trying to help them get guaranteed income, and it changes the perception of the client to you. And so I've seen agents and advisors be able to get really big premiums and deals when they're doing it this way, because you're basically starting backwards. You're looking at, okay, what are your income needs? How can we get there? And that's basically where the annuity fits in. And then you have all the other benefits with the annuity as well. But I like this tool because it allows you to start from the finish line on where you're looking at and work backwards to the product. And so in that case, it makes a lot more sense when I'm talking about and presenting this, because again, we're basically just providing a solution to what they're trying to do. Any questions with that? I'll pause for a second right there and see if anyone has any questions up to that point about anything with what I've gone through, the income calculator, how to adjust it. Cool. All right. No questions so far. Perfect. All right. So that's the first half of what I wanted to cover through is our income calculator. I would recommend everybody jump in and mess around with it a little bit, and they can see what they're doing. So the question was, it has the assumptive return in this case. So this is basically assuming the return of the underlying fund. So in this case, it's the PMP cap fund, excuse me, S&P PTP cap fund, and it's assuming the 2.3% return, and then you have that. So if I go into the like illustrations, I can see it in more detail on what the guaranteed values are, and then it also has the projected value, the hypothetical values as well, and how that affects the account value, the surrender value, the death benefit, all of that. If I want to dive into that in more detail. So 5, 7, 10-year options turning on income. You can do whatever you want. I think it's more so on the client on what they're looking at. Obviously, the longer deferral time, the more the money has the ability to appreciate. And so then you're going to be taking it off of a higher amount. But I think it's going to be more so what the client needs and what their timeline is, as opposed to, what I'm showing them. There's not like an option as far that's going to be up to you and the client basically. Yeah, and then any income crediting and bonuses would be, you can see if there's bonuses or anything else on there when you're looking through enhanced payments, that type of thing. It'll highlight those. Awesome. All right, let's build a case now. Like I said, I want to make sure that are they assumed rates being used actual historical? So you can see that you can basically see both. You can see the actual rate, and then you can see the hypothetical on the illustrator right here. So if I come right here, it has like the guaranteed values, and then it has the hypothetical values. And then I can go to, not to get into too much detail, but I can go to the calculator and look at like the performance analyzer, and I can look at the individual funds and look at basically what their historical returns have been as well. As far as how many companies are quoted on the platform, we have, I believe, 113 now. And again, depending on the product or the state, the income option you're looking at, that's going to narrow down. In this case, we were going with only A- and above rated companies. And so your filters are going to narrow it down. But from a very kind of wide view, it starts with 113 carriers, and then it narrows down from there based off of availability and filters that you have set up. All right, so let's build a case now. So it looks like somebody posted actually early ahead of the time, which is good. And we'll just work on that one because it will save us time. I don't have to wait for people to put it in. So looks like we got one. It's a 68-year-old female with $30,000 in non-qualified funds for 5 years. All right, we'll use that one. Anything else about that one as far as more details on kind of what their goals are with that you want to add? All right, so I'm just going to start typing that in right here. So when I do that, I'm going to use our AI tool to build this one out. And so I'm just going to type the text, or type to prompt, I should say. So I'm going to say, unfortunately, I can't copy and paste. So I'm going to say Oliver. Whoops. Oliver, 68, female, funds to travel. All right. Has 30 in non-qualified. I'm going to say she's in Arizona, in AZ. Wants to use the funds to travel in 5 years. See if there's anything else popped in. Oh, New York. I'm going to use, so just for this example, in my demo account, I have New York limited on carriers. And so just for this example, to see more carrier options, I'm going to say Arizona. Or I'll say Florida. Florida has a fund to help us too. New York has, at least on my demo account, has very little, doesn't have a lot of carrier options. And I want to give you a better idea of this view. All right, we'll put it pretty basic. Oliver, 68, female, has 30,000 in non-qualified. In Florida, wants to use funds to travel in 5 years. All right, let's see where this gives us, because this is fairly broad, but this will give us a good exercise as far as what we can do and show. So got Oliver, female, 68. It just basically put in non-qualified 30,000, grow safely. I could go to explore options as well if I want to go to strategies, time horizon, 5 years, flexible, doesn't need access to it. So I'll go create client. All right, what I can do is I can type in like options right here, but I'm just going to go to find best fit. I can also look at potentially comparing like strategies as well. But let's say for this one, we'll just go into find best fit annuity and see what this gets us. And then we can use this to brainstorm for more. All right, so let's see what it's going to generate initially from what we have so far. And so as it's thinking, it's going to basically show me things that it's thinking going through. And again, what's cool about this is just the initial draft. Like if there's something that I don't like, I want to switch, I can make adjustments along the way. This is basically just imagine a lot of times, I would say most of the time, a lot of agents are still calling like their marketing department or their marketer on building out a case. And imagine this is basically like you doing that, but your marketer is the AI and it's in your pocket and you can do it instantly and you don't have to call someone and explain and go back and forth on the phone or email. This basically allows you to do it instantly. So it's going to basically go through the profile. We don't need withdrawals in this time. It's talking about MYGAs, guaranteed income, and we'll see what else. I'm going to say I don't want to do MYGAs in this scenario. Let's say we want a little bit more growth potential. So I'm going to go right, just changed. I'm going to say client is comfortable with some market upside. Market upside. Oops. Potential for, whoops, can't speak. Can't. Potential growth. All right, let's see what that gives us. So we're not just looking at MYGAs. We get a little bit more. A little bit more. All right, let's see what we got here now. So now it's going to probably start looking at some fixed income annuity options, and we'll see what we get. All right, so it's thinking it's going to start to build that out. Typically, what it does is it gives you it'll give you a couple different products initially, 3 to 5, and then you can sort through those and eliminate those as you want, or select a primary or remove them. And then it'll then build out the actual quote from there. And so we'll see what it's thinking thus far, and then we'll see what we can get from there. All right. Okay, we're getting close. So usually this takes about 60 seconds or so. And if it's taking a lot longer, maybe your internet connection's slow or whatnot, but it's going to give us an update. It's going to basically updated this. We have some protections. It looks like it has the initial ones and it's starting to accumulate. All right. It's going to give me 3 different product options that I can compare from. And then I will just remove one of them so we can compare just 2. So it looks like it has these 3. We got a Lincoln product, a Jackson product, and American Equity. I'm just going to remove this Lincoln product and I'll say we'll just stick with these ones and I'll go with, let's make this primary one our Jackson one. And you can see, so initially I can go to details. I can go to why this product, you can see. And so I'm going to go create proposal now and we'll see what it starts to build. It's going to put it into a proposal. Now, what's cool about this is it's not just going to do like the product recommendation and quote it all out, is it's going to build the why behind it's making this recommendation. And so it's giving you, I like to use the phrase like a lot of sales ammunition. And so you can be able to thoroughly explain it. So not just like thoroughly explain like the product itself with the details and the facts behind the product, but why it would make sense for your client. And again, this is basically just a tool that you can utilize. So once it generates the proposal, there may be some terminology or there may be something that's unclear you don't like, and you can just make edits along the way. So it's all, whoops, my internet just slowed down. Let me go back to dashboard. Go back to Oliver and pull this back up. Sorry, here we go. This happened to me earlier. All right, let's see if it will regenerate this. All right. Wait for this to come back. All right, now it's going to rerun it again. So again, this is like us doing it in real time. It's not just me cherry picking things. And so this is why I like to do it, because it's actually how you would use it in real life. And it's us working on it together. A couple questions is, yes, Annuities Genius is a paid subscription, or we have 3 different plans that you can choose from. And then can you go straight to the e-app of the selected company? So yes, we do have e-app capability. It's through Firelight. Now that is going to be limited to the IMO is what turns that on and off. And so depending on which IMO you're working with, how that works is we basically integrate with the e-app capability that the IMO has, and then that turns the ability to sign to do the e-app and everything within Annuities Genius. All right, so it looks like we're getting close, and it'll generate the proposal. And what's also cool about it is it'll put it into where I can put it into like PDF form as well. So if I need to like download it beforehand as I'm prepping. So why the different annual trends show not reflect true when you compare it 2 to 3 products? So it's going to be different. So the product or the performances that is generated by the insurance or the carrier, they'll usually use like hypotheticals, and there's not always actual returns, and it's cherry picked. And so you have to just go in and look into it, because sometimes it's not super transparent. It's usually based off of hypotheticals and things. And you typically want to dive into it or be familiar enough with the product in some regard to see what's going on, how they're making those projections. And that's why we have on one of our calculators, we have what's called our performance analyzer and then index tracker, where you can actually pull up the real numbers behind everything, and not just the cherry pick numbers that the carrier may give you on the illustrations. All right, so it's completed. So it basically has a side by side between the 2 products right here on just general information. Why in this case, the Jackson product leads, what it basically is talking about. First, the alternative. These are alternative investment options. So it has like a MYGA option, CD option, S&P option, and then the report that it's generating. And so in this case, it has a situation. It talks about why a fixed annuity. And then it has the primary recommendation, this Jackson product. So basically, you can see it's $44,000 over your 5 years. It has more specifics around what it's looking at, surrender period, premiums, that type of thing, more details. It has the 5-year growth, the hypothetical based off of that. And then in this case, the hypothetical value at the end of this is gaining $14,000 on the top of the 30. And then it has your guaranteed floor as well. You have the alternative option, and then a breakdown of the alternative option, how they compare. So it basically has a comparison. What's awesome about this is it has kind of apples to apples comparisons with other products. And so you have the guaranteed amount, you have the hypothetical, so you have the CD, the MYGA guaranteed, and then the other one. So if they're like, hey, you know what? This is hypothetical. Let's just go with guaranteed. Then you can basically then transition back over to the MYGA options as well. So this is great because it's basically an apples to apples comparison on other products and other options. And so you're being completely transparent. And then it has other considerations as well. So this is a pretty cool just initial output. Again, I can come into here after it's done, and I can go edit it, and I can make adjustments along the way, and ask questions and everything like that. So talking more about hypothetical, the hypothetical returns are basically what it's currently invested in, what they're believing the hypothetical returns would be. No one can really be sure because we have no idea what the market is. So they have like their guaranteed amounts. So when I go into the actual illustration, it'll show like what their guaranteed amounts are. But the hypothetical, there's not really a way for anybody to know what the hypothetical is, because no one knows what the market's going to do in the future. And so you're basically just showing kind of the hypothetical returns. You can look at historical returns, which is pretty easy. But when you're projecting the future hypothetical growth, it's a guess, and it's a guess for everybody because no one really knows. And so I won't get too caught up on it, because it's the same way for everything, whether it's an individual stock, mutual fund, you'll have, the nice thing about the annuity is you'll have your guaranteed rates, and then you'll have the hypothetical growth rates as well that you can compare between the two of them. But there's a lot more that I can do in here. I don't want to take too much time for everyone's time because this is, we're hit our time limit. But from here, I can download this, I can make adjustments. Here's all the other prompts that I can do. But again, what's cool about this is we just took like a real life case and basically worked it in 10 or 15 minutes, and we have a pretty solid breakdown right here. You can get hypothetical return, you can get actual return data in the analyzer up here as well as needed. And I appreciate everybody hopping on today. We, again, do these every Wednesday. Feel free to hop on. They're always at the same time, 11 a.m. Pacific. And these are all posted onto our Annuity Genius YouTube channel. So if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to us if you're interested in signing up. It comes with a 14-day trial, and so I would definitely take advantage of it and mess around with it, at least in the trial. It doesn't cost you anything, and there's a ton of potential to get a lot better at selling annuities. And so I appreciate everybody hopping on, and have a great afternoon.